Somewhere in my early 30s, everything started to feel incredibly boring. That old 9-to-5 job, the house with all its never-ending projects. When the kids were small, I mean like baby and toddler phase, every single day felt like you're entering a new battlefield where you survive through the day filled with diapers, tears, and exhaustion. There was never time to get bored. But after a while, it got a bit easier, and all of a sudden, I felt a bit empty. Like, who am I outside of the role of a mother and a housewife? The very questions so many other women ask themselves. So I started searching for myself. Yeah, that traditional 30 years old crisis. And somehow I found myself in the mountains, a place where I always felt at peace. I've been hiking one mountain after another, searching for answers, always looking for another peak. And before I knew it, I got addicted to all things outdoors. And for some years now, I've been acquiring new skills for playing and thriving outdoors. The kids are getting bigger, and throughout their childhood, I've been introducing them to one thing and another, making a campfire, setting up a tent, living by the leave no trace principles. This weekend, we got to borrow this cabin again. It's not a whole ton of things you can do around here, but last year, the kids found a few frogs in an old well nearby. And now that the snow was gone, they wanted to check whether the frogs were there. I decided to enrich this trip with some new skills. So I took my 2 camping stoves and I started teaching my kids how to use them. Now, the gasoline stove is a new one for me, and I'm still getting familiar with it. The gas-driven camping stove has been my friend for a few years now, so I feel much more confident using it. And I thought, if my children learn using these stoves before they turn 30, then I'm doing something right in this parenting game. They both got a turn on each camping stove and managed to make a simple meal. After the dinner, we went on a frog mission, and after a few attempts, we managed to carefully pick out one frog from the well. The kids were gentle with it, and they put it in a glass vessel with the water from the well, and we released it back where we found it a short while later. In the meantime, I went to a river nearby and filled some water for the cabin. And then there was time for me to set up a tent. Now you may wonder, why would I want to sleep in the tent when I have access to the cabin? And I have several reasons for that. First of all, this is my new tent and I only used it a few times, so I wanted to get in those reps and be better at setting it up fast in all kind of conditions. Number 2, the more I sleep outside, the more I learn about my own habits, limits and preferences. What works in certain conditions, what doesn't. So again, getting in those reps. And number 3, probably the main reason, is that boredom. When it gets too calm, too easy, it also gets too boring for me. So I thought, if we cook the food outside and if I sleep outside, then maybe it will keep me busy and I would feel like I'm doing something useful. And maybe it sounds silly to you, but this is just the way I function. The kids didn't want to sleep in the tent though, so they chose the cozy comfort of the cabin. Morning came, we made some breakfast, and then we got a visit from a neighboring cabin. Then the oldest girls disappeared with the neighbor's dog, and we were left alone, Isabel and I. We cleaned up the cabin, packed down the tent, and then she wanted to go home because, well, it became too boring, and I couldn't blame her. After all, this child isn't much different from me. And now that the frog was gone and the big sister was gone, it was time to get going for us too. I don't know about you, but maybe sometimes we all need to get bored a little bit. And instead of scrolling through another brain rot, maybe we could rather go out in nature, learn a new skill or two, and let some creative ideas to come through. Because when we are not constantly numbing ourselves with screens and other distractions, this is when we have a chance to listen to our intuition and to our inner guides, that little voice living inside of us and feeding us with new ideas. And a lot of times, this is where we get the best ideas from. And a lot of times, you can only get them if you turn off all the noise and let yourself get a little bit bored. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, you can watch another cabin adventure in the link down below. Bye bye!